There's really only 6 reasons why people don't join EXP. If you put me on the spot, I may not remember all of them. I remember some of them, but I actually did a video where I trained my group. There's only six answers. There's only 6 things, because I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of agents through the process that we just talked about. To get my 120, I had to talk to 360, 370, whatever it was. So there are only and that is one of them. I get 100% commission, right? And so I always ask, just like Shannon says the same thing, why would you settle for 100%? That doesn't make sense to me. You know, I've capped, even though I'm not in production, I call myself not in production. I closed one yesterday, 1.6 million. I was on a plane when it closed, okay? By the way, this is interesting. On this property, and this is a lot of stuff that I teach, because I work in the quantum field, okay, where God lives. A lot of the stuff I teach is talk about being virtual. So I've never met the couple in person that bought this house. They came from a friend of mine that just called me up and said, hey, my buddies want to buy a house. They're new in town from Boise, Idaho. And they wanted to go see one house. So I got ready to go show them one house. This is a buyer now. I do mostly listings. And it just so happens that they were doing an open house the next day. I said, hey guys, you can go see the open house if you just want to do that. So they went to the open house. They loved it. We wrote it up, okay? Now, I've never personally seen the house, and I've never personally met them. We just closed yesterday. I got a $48,000 commission from it. So what I tell people is, I still cap at EXP. So I've capped last year, I capped the year before. I've capped every year that I've been here. I've been here 2.5 years. Now, EXP has paid me $5,000 a month in stock, okay? And so I paid $16,000 to the company to cap. The company every year has paid me $60,000 in stock. Plus, now the company's paying me anywhere from $12,000 to $17,000 a month in residual income. So why would I settle for 100%? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm a broker, by the way. I got my broker license in 2008. So if I wanted 100%, I'd just throw everything out and just hang my shingle. You know, I could do that and not pay anybody anything, not even 25 bucks a deal. But that doesn't make any sense. Here, you could actually build an organization. In fact, I had a guy join today in my group from Puerto Rico. From Puerto Rico. How would I be able to do that even if I had my own local brokerage? It wouldn't happen, okay? So there's no way in the world I would ever settle for a 100% model, because that is completely limiting, completely limiting. You know, it won't be long before Shannon and I both, and you know, anybody on this call could be making $10,000, $25,000, $40,000, $50,000. Curtis Johnson's making, he made $250,000 last month. So why would I settle for 100%? I just don't understand that at all. And the reality is somebody is benefiting on your production, whether it's somebody's out there benefiting on it, okay? So it's not really a thing about, EXP is a win-win-win, right? So it's just good all the way around. And so, yeah, I mean, you could have the mentality of, hey, I only want, you know, that's more of an intention thing. You know, what's your intention? But I remember, I mean, when I came to the Lord when I was 18 years old, and I didn't go around telling people about him because I wanted to make a bigger crown in heaven. I basically knew that it was the real deal in my heart, and I wanted them to know about it. And same thing with EXP. I mean, even if I watch a good movie, or the other day we ate at Beauchamp's in Miramar Beach, man, I started telling, I even wrote a Google review on it. Everybody's gonna know about Beauchamp. I mean, it was good food, right? And they have a beer I like too. So the whole thing about it is, you know, you spread the word on things you enjoy. And the reality is, people are gonna get upset with you either way. They're gonna get upset with you telling them about EXP, or they're gonna get upset with you because you didn't tell them, right? So I'd rather them be upset on the front end, man, not this and that. But then later on, they look like, man, you were trying to tell me something, weren't you? I was like, yeah, I was. So yeah. We just have to put the ego aside, because that's all ego. I don't really care what people think my motives are, because God knows what my heart is. I have a pure heart, and that's it. You know, that's all that matters. Yeah, most agents have been taught to think very low. You know, you work for me. These are the things that you do. You bring in, I'll split it with you. I'll give you 100% if you pay me X per deal. I mean, they're trained to think within a specific model that's antiquated. And so for them to think anywhere outside and become entrepreneurial around their thinking of what's best for them and their family is difficult for them to do. So in reality, and this is true, that most brokerages are really a form of servitude, if you just want to be honest about it. Because when you look at our model, compare it, and you just put it on a whiteboard like the one I have right next to me, you put it up, it's no comparison. I mean, anything else looks like indentured servitude, and even a 100% model, because a 100% model will trick you into not reaching your ultimate greatness or what you could possibly be. And one of the things Gary used to always teach me, he said, Knolly, don't allow your business to become as big as it wants to be. Because otherwise, most agents, what they do is they stifle their business. They just keep, wait a minute, it's growing too fast. No. Here, you can grow as fast as you want. Why? Because we have the systems and the models and the tools to allow you to do that. You know, if Hershey, all of a sudden, Hershey candy bars got another order of 500,000 bars overnight from their regular order, they just run another crew. The system's already there. You just make more candy bars. So here we have a system, man, and I guarantee you, Shannon, when you have that brokerage that comes over with 100 agents, it's just rinse and repeat. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing model, and it is the most kind, most fair model on the planet in real estate. Yeah, a lot of this, because I teach that you should attract based on your personality profile. So I do a lot of training around personality profiles, what's your personality, and then it makes agent attraction something that is enjoyable for you. It should be fun and easy. And so, like for example, in my real estate practice, I've never made a cold call. Okay. Now I have agents that are really good. I've got one guy, Dinko. He'll make 250 cold calls a week. He loves doing it. But that's just not in my wheelhouse because I have zero D. I have no D whatsoever. So I'm an ISC. So what I do is I basically turn the game into something that is fun for me, right? So I would say, obviously look at your profile, and then I don't know that I'll ever not do real estate. I probably will at some point. I mean, I went to Gene Frederick's house in Puerto Rico. We stayed there for 7 nights at his house. It was great, beautiful home, and he taught me a lot, behind closed doors type of stuff. And he hasn't done a deal in 21 years, and it sounded pretty good to me. So and he doesn't have to. I mean, I think his revenue share that month was 800 something, crazy number. So the thing is, what I tell people is, it depends on where you are in your real estate career, but in reality, everyone right now should be on the attraction game, because think we just crossed 60,000 agents, right? And soon it'll be 100, then 150, and so on. And so now is the time to really get. When I joined, there was 16,000. Now there's 60. 30 months later. So now is really the time to go all in. Focus on agent attraction, because if you don't, you'll be sorry you didn't. So I tell people, you remember those days when you worked 2 or 3 jobs? I remember that. Boy, I would go work at Target, and then I'd be a cashier, then I'd be stocking shelves somewhere else. And I worked 3 jobs because it was hard to live in the United States of America without having three jobs back then if you work in the system like that. Until I learned how to make more money and charge what I'm worth. And so what I tell people is, the quote that we always hear, live like few people do, so that later on you can live like few people do, right? And so what I tell people is, roll up your sleeves, pretend, it's 2 years. I call it the 2-year career. If you roll up your sleeves, you want to get to your first 25, okay? Then get to 40, then get to 60. And that's the training that I have out there, is how to, I basically have a step-by-step system training on how I got 100 FLAs in my first 24 months. And it's just math. But it does require a little sacrifice. But you being a firecracker, you're probably going to have 4, 5, or 6 agents to replace your production. You see what I'm saying? Because I was doing 153. I did like 100, but I had a science to it. What I understood at a fundamental level is that listings is a 46-step system, which I've kind of broken it down, and there's only 6 steps that require a license. So when I was doing mine 7th level, I got to the point where I said, I only want to do the things that require a license. Everything else I'll let other people do. And that's why I had a good size admin team. And eventually I hired an agent, a licensed assistant, okay, that he could do the things the only thing I did was lead generate, period. So I worked 3 hours a week. Yeah, I worked 3 hours a week. I really should have worked more than that, but we had a system. Anyway, but I was asked to give that up because I was gonna build a 400 deal per year business from my 150, super easy to scale up. But I was asked very matter-of-factly that that's not happening, And because, I check in, and God Almighty knows that if I was to do that, I wouldn't focus on anything else. And I like money. Yeah, but it's tricky because most of them won't be able to do what you do. And if you want to duplicate yourself, you've got to get someone with your profile. If you want to augment yourself, you get someone with the opposite profile. Good question. So my first, and I'll make it brief. My first business, I owned a rap label, Christian rap, okay? And I wouldn't get caught dead in a cowboy boots or hat or anything like that. From the time I was 13, that's all I wanted to do was become a rap star, right? And then, God got a hold of me at 18, so that changed a few things. But one day, my wife is Hispanic, so we were walking around Mexico, and she's talking to different people, and she can speak the lingo and all that. And so I'm just goofing off, and we're with family. And so we passed by this guy that has a hat stand, and when I get, I'm actually introverted and shy, but when I feel comfortable, it starts going, right? I get fun. And we went by, and I grabbed the hat and I just put it on my head, and I was just like goofing off. And they were like, man, that looks pretty good. I was like, nah. And so I went to put it back. They said, no, really, that looks good on you. So they grabbed the mirror, and I was like, dang, that looks pretty good. That's pretty stylish there. I was about 26, maybe 26, 27. And I'll be darned if I didn't come home with a hat, man. And 2 weeks later, my wife bought me boots. So there I was, man. I've worn it ever since. So when I got into real estate, I told my wife, I said, I'm getting rid of the hat. Nobody's gonna want to list with me. They're not gonna want this, cowboy dude. They're gonna think I just do farm and ranch. She said, you're not getting rid of the hat, you're keeping the hat. I said, I'm not gonna keep the hat. She said, you're keeping it. And guess who won on that one? So that's really how it came. People think it's a cool thing, but it almost wasn't. It almost didn't come into being.